Good morning and happy Monday. So, a reminder, whenever anything happens in our life, we are making three decisions. Number one, what am I going to focus on? Number two, what does this mean? Number three, what am I going to do? What am I going to focus on? What does this mean? What am I going to do? Jack Nicklaus goes into the final round of the U.S. Open with a two-stroke lead. It's the last U.S. Open that he won, and he bogeys the first two holes. So he's now blown his two-stroke lead. He goes on to play the next 16 holes. Sorry, allergies. He goes on to play the next 16 holes, 4 under par, and wins the tournament. At the end, when he was asked, how did you do that? I mean, you bogeyed the first two holes. You were off to a terrible start, but yet you regrouped and gathered yourself and ended up playing 2 under par for the day, 4 under par for the last 16 and won the tournament. And Nicklaus looked at the camera, almost confused by the question. And he goes, well, you always have 1 or 2 bad holes every round. So after I got those first 2 holes done, I was like, okay, good. Those are out of the way. Now I know I'm going to play great for the rest of the 16. I mean, it was like a lightning bolt reverberated through the golf community. Nobody had ever thought to think like that. For most people, if they went into that final round and bogeyed the first 2 holes, what were they going to do? Well, what are you going to focus on? What is it going to mean? What are you going to do? So most people would focus on, oh my God, I've bogeyed the first 2 holes. I've blown the lead. And now I'm going to lose the tournament. And then what would they focus on? The last 2 holes. What would it mean? I'm going to lose the tournament. What are they going to do? They'd forget about the round. They'd give up on the round. They'd throw it away and say, I'm all done. What did Nicklaus do? He didn't focus on the 2 holes. He focused on the next 16. For him, what it meant was, okay, good. My 2 bad holes are now out of the way. And now I'm going to play great. And what did he do? He played great and he went on to win the tournament. Our Thomas Edison example that we've used forever and ever, 10,000 experiments to invent the light bulb. For most people, what would that mean? What would they focus on? They'd focus on the failures. What would it mean? That they were never going to figure it out, and what would they do? They'd give up. They would have never even gotten to 10,000. They would have never gotten to 1,000. They maybe would have done a dozen, maybe 100, and then said, enough. What did Edison do? What did he focus on? He focused that every time he didn't get the result that he wanted, it got him closer to the result that he wanted to get. That was his focus. What did it mean? It meant that he was even closer. He was ahead of everybody else because he now knew 10,000 ways to not invent the light bulb. He was that much closer than everybody else. What did he do? He worked that much harder because he knew every day he was getting closer and closer. That's what it meant to him. So whenever anything happens in our life, we're making these 3 decisions. What are we going to focus on? What does it mean? And what are we going to do? So as you head into Monday and the new week and a new month, think about that. Think about what are you going to focus on? What does it mean? And what are you going to do? And if you control those things, you're going to control the rest of your life and you're going to control your destiny. Because remember, we can't control what happens, but we always can control our response. And when we focus on what does it mean and what are we going to do, then we're controlling our response, which means we're the ones that are going to decide how we respond to those stimuluses and forward we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great Monday. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.